Garlytska, and it's about how to set measure on a TV or box. So today we will have a workshop lecture with her.
Thank you. I hope those who are online hear me well as well. I guess you will be able to let the organizers know if the sound is okay.
Yeah.
It's good. Perfect. Then thank you all for making the time, and I guess I'll start with a bit of a story because we met before, and we met at the first open lecture that was organized here by the Migrant Garden, and I realized that there are ways in which you can do your best, and today you are the judge to say how good I'm doing that. And I decided I better stay on this side of the process, remaining in my usual role as a lecturer. I'm a lecturer and researcher, and I introduced myself to you in a first open lecture as a person who does it on a regular basis, and my background is in sustainable business, sustainable economics, and I also often do mentorship work, business mentorship, and have had an experience of being a lecturer in another business accelerator program, specifically for green businesses. And so when I received an invitation to make one today, I thought, why not? Because I do have things to share, and hopefully you find it useful. A lecturer, a researcher, a person who shares things on sustainability. This is my great passion. Another one you also know, it's storytelling. So sharing the content that makes you emotionally attached and make things on sustainable world development meaningful, right? I'm a member of several international organizations, and those make sense to me in sharing the knowledge that I have, but also learning from people in the network who have more experience, who have fantastic thoughts, and it was a great delight to be part of the community here. And one of the reasons why I wanted to, in the times of pandemics, go out and meet people and also learn from your exciting business ideas. We will talk a lot about them today. I guess we can move on to the next slide. Should I work with the clicker? Will it work?
Yeah,
if
let's see if it works.
Yay!
Okay.
So for those online, for those who are here physically, we're talking today about setting the goals, keeping up the motivation, and measuring, right? And before we start measuring, it's good to be truly motivated and not become a person like me in this case, who basically dropped out of the program, not having a clear motivation for myself, why it makes sense for me to really pursue it with all the passion and drive to really make sense out of the experience here. I think it's amazing when somebody gives you a free access to all the learning and infrastructure and a network, and later on in the program you will be matched with mentors, and this is also an invaluable resource because someone with experience will be willing to share it with you and sincerely would wish you luck, right? So not having enough motivation is not going to get you to the right place, and I bet everyone has a chance to make it a winning dream. So let's start with imagining what will happen when you have it. And I encourage you to maybe even be as careless and playful as kids are, and close your eyes and to really have that picture. For a minute, let's do that and visualize what it's going to look like. It's not embarrassing to close your eyes and to really be there. I encourage everyone to do so. Imagine when it happened, how it looks like, what it feels like. Who is around you? Is it people that you know, your friends, your family, people that support you? Are you maybe alone? Is there a team of yours? How do you imagine those people? What would they be like? How does your workday look like? How does that routine look like? I very much encourage you to imagine that. Good. Who would like to share?
I can share.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, in front of the camera, of course.
If you wish, if you wish, you could, I guess, do it from your place.
Okay. So of course, what I saw when I closed my eyes was based on my previous experiences. So it was I don't know. I saw myself in a very busy place, full of people. The majority were clients, customers, but let's say a good 15% were colleagues and people that are participating in my project. And it was very quiet in the first part of the day, where you set up the goals for the day, maybe for the week, and then everything starts building up throughout the day, and then some people are staying in the structure, other people are going teaching in the school, the method. So it's a very positive environment where people are bringing a small piece of what they know, and it was this kind of emotion more than a real business thing. So that's what was in my mind when I
Thank you. Great.
Yeah.
Good. Anyone else would like to share? Maybe anyone online?
Okay, I think there's someone on that one.
Hi, do you hear us?
Yeah. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Does everyone hear?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you ask us to close our eyes and think about the idea, think about what comes to our head when when we think about all of this. So for me, I guess the idea which me and my team right now we are working on, honestly, when I close my eyes, I see all, all the people around me and everyone using our services. This is the first thought which comes to my, because the idea which we are coming up with is something which is for everyone right now at this time, and very interesting thought. I never imagined it in this way, so it's a nice way, like close eyes and to feel where you look forward for this.
Thank you so much. So clarify, when you are closing your eyes, see that everyone is using your service. It's like your dream, right?
Yes.
Okay, and can you quickly remind what is your idea or service?
My idea is to create or to develop a 4-wheeled electric vehicle which can be used on bicycle, and an individual can rent it, lease it from us, and use it for day-to-day commute in Vilnius city.
Okay, so just because I don't know if I understood or heard everything. So a vehicle, bicycle, and people can use that in Vilnius.
Yeah, it's an electric bicycle, bicycle or tricycle, which can be used on bicycle, which will help in reducing the traffic congestions, which will help in so plus our vehicle is designed in such a way that it's a totally covered vehicle which can be used in any weather condition.
Everyone understood, yes? Okay, I don't see your name, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Do we have a third person to share? Well, if you keep it to yourself, it's still good enough for you to know what it was like, what it felt like, who was there, and what is the ideal picture of your desired objective, what you want to get out of it, how it should look in a perfect world, right? Yet, for the moment, it's still much of a dream, right? And we're working on getting it all real. And measurement and planning is very important part of this process. And I want you to keep that visual of the perfect scenario when things work out, of what you ideally want to achieve and how that daily routine of having a business will look like. Sometimes for people to fixate themselves on the goal, it helps also to visualize things. A tool as simple as collage, it could be digital, it could be you doing it old school way out of newspapers or magazines. But having that visual would really help to always have it in front of you, right? It could be really digital in your phone, but the point is that you have that thing in front of you, remembering it, having it in the back of your head so that you could really focus on it. I'm not a neuroscientist, but as much as I know about our brain is that this organ is very much like any other organ, helping us to survive and function. And it tends to show us pictures and evidence of the stuff that we believe in. So if you wake up in a bad mood and you believe that this world is terrible, most likely it's going to give you evidence of that. But if you believe that things are working out, that you're managing, that you're moving towards your desired goal, this is exactly what you're going to program yourself to have. And you having that visual of things going, falling in the right direction and you obtaining that desired final goal is going to get you closer. All the benefits of you getting, out of this business is your motivation to have it. I'd like to give it a few minutes for you to list down some 10 benefits, what you get out of having it. If things work out and you have that business running, what is the benefit of having it for you? At least 10 things. Let me know whenever someone is ready. Whoever was wishing to share. You have it? Would you like?
It's really a lot. I have 9.
I have 6.
Yeah, I mean.
I can't get to 10.
No? All right. Well, this could be continued at home, right? But if you have some, I'd be willing to hear. What does it give you?
The first one that I mentioned was change of lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Since the business that I'm thinking is a hospitality business, so I think it kind of fits my personality. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy being with people.
Right.
So, and that kind of thing is possible with this business.
Right.
Then again, back to kind of, it's to some extent retirement plan as well. I mean, I'm fine where I am, but I feel like, yeah, I need to change and think about what I'm going to do when I'm not 40, but when I'm 60. It's a challenge as well, kind of, which I do enjoy. And proving to yourself that you can pull it off in a way as well. That would be the main things that I see as benefits to me personally.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you. Thank you for sharing. You could also think of how it could maybe benefit your family,
Okay.
yeah, your closer circle, what impact that makes, positive impact that makes on their lives too. And elaborate on things like change of lifestyle. What does it mean? That maybe your routine will change and you will make the time, let's say, for a hobby or sports. You will be more in charge of your time, right? You say it's something that you enjoy doing, and you speak about you know, being excited about talking to people. Your networking opportunities, right? That also would benefit you as a result of you having that business. All right. Anything else? Excitement, right. Generally, motivation for life, right? Okay.
Impact, like,
True.
in people's life, and like not just in people's life but overall society. For me, it's more about like being flexible and spontaneous, like things which you cannot do in the job, but here you can do it.
Right.
Creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. That you're a boss for yourself and you can decide what's appropriate, what's not, what makes sense, what's not. You know,
If
have.
it doesn't even make sense, it's still you can do it because you're your own boss.
Right?
So,
Perfect. Good. A freedom on deciding how to implement those activities and stuff. Good. Anyone else would like to join and share? You understand the point? You can extend those lists, right? But these are your motivation, and whenever it would be possible, you know, go back to the list and think of all the things that it's going to offer you, in a sense that I wish you best and I hope it's going to be a smooth journey, but we know life not always is that smooth, and sometimes it's a bumpy road. And in times when you might lack motivation, think of why you started, right? Think of why you started. Good. The time that we have today is limited, and when having that motivation, when having a picture in front of you, always, you know, visualizing your final goal, and it may change. It's okay that your final picture of the ideal is going to evolve, right? You're working on your product. Maybe after a prototype, the whole thing will look completely different, and you will have to define your customer segments, anew, completely. But the fact that you want that, you know, state of being, and all the benefits of having that business that you listed, like your reasons why you're doing it, is important. And when we get to the actual business part, setting up the goals for your business, they have to be SMART. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. Specific is when you say, I want to have many customers. No, that's not specific, right? Many, like how many? Like the number. 3 digits, 5 digits. What are we talking about? Groups of people, individuals, how many of them? On regular basis, 5 visitors per day. This is specific, right? Measurable, literally you being able to say, today was this many, tomorrow it's this much, and so on, right? It's not random numbers that you take out of, you know, the blue. It's a system that you foresee in a business to measure the impact, to measure the revenue, to measure your sales, to measure your business parameters, right? There's also such thing as performance indicators, right? How much you are able to process per hour. I don't know, at the belt, in a factory, 30 pieces per hour. Or you can run this many kilometers per 10 minutes, right? But it has to be measurable, right? There should be a way for you to consistently monitor and know those numbers. Now we speak about attainable. When your goal is to produce, I don't know, 10 pizzas a day, let's say, well, maybe a more challenging goal of like 50 pizzas a day, and you're a one-man band and you have only one oven and you can do only 1 pizza at a time, how realistic is your goal, right? It could be challenging, but is it possible, right? And it's okay to have a challenging goal. The problem is when you say, I want to conquer the world, and you're a not known startup, right? And it's good to be ambitious, but you have to have a plan then how you're going to conquer the world. Is it attainable? If it's attainable, wonderful, that's the goal that we like. Then we move on to that goal being realistic in a sense of, okay, potentially one could do that. Can I do that? Me, the way I am, with my routine, my life circumstances, and all the things, obligations, commitments, you know, so many things that impact why you can or cannot do things, right? And also your team, right? Because you may depend on people in the team. You would imagine this is doable. You can see people having similar team doing that within that, time frame that you give to yourself, but maybe there are not enough people on the team, or those people do not have the right skills to do that thing within the time period that you assign to yourself. And so being honest about that is what realistic stands for. And then time bound, right? We're not just doing things, we're doing it in actual real physical world where time is one of the parameters that defines on, how successful the whole journey is. And it's good to have deadlines, right? So until the end of the week, I want to have this much of sales. In the first quarter, I want to make this much profit, right? You have a precise deadline until when that goal needs to be implemented. Otherwise, it's just a dream, and it could be very well formulated, but it doesn't have that end date. And this will have so much impact on you not feeling, mentally not being in a state of like, I need to deliver by this date, right? So, SMART goal. And maybe we could think of formulating one for your business, at least one example of a SMART goal. I also would be curious to hear what people participating online would say. So whoever is going to be ready, whenever you're ready with a SMART goal, right? It should have numbers, and it should have a date, and who's doing it, right? And what exactly you're doing.
Isn't it, say, attainable or realistic?
They speak about different qualities. Attainable is can you do it in general, like hypothetically, sort of. Realistic is more of like, are you personally capable of doing? Yeah. Like, it's okay to make 50 pizzas per day. It's attainable, right? But can I personally do it? It's not realistic if I have one oven.
Realistic, can I is just like a check, yes or no, or more elaborate?
Yeah, make sure that it's realistic. In a sense, this is possible to do in your circumstance.
It's just like green light, red light. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone would like to share?
As I mentioned previous sessions, I have a plan to set up a website, B2B website. At the moment, I have B2C online shops. I am planning to set up B2B website. When I start a business, I always try to set easy goals, achievable easy goals. For example, considering SMART goals, specifically I am planning to find 20 wholesale customers in a year who is going to place at least 2 orders in a year. For the beginning, it is measurable. At the end of first year, I will be able to measure it. I will see if I already reached or not. This is attainable because from my experience of B2C website, I see that there is a demand about wholesale. When it comes to reality, I see that I can produce and sell wholesale. And time bound will be, first of all, 1 year. So
you feel comfortable with that deadline?
Yes. So for the beginning, I always try to set easy goals. For the beginning, my plan to get 20 customers who is going to place 2 orders
each.
Yeah.
Good. Very good. Very good example. Thank you. Anyone else?
No one, even from the internet, I can do mine.
No, we have 5 minutes.
All right. So I want to do this sensory lab to teach people how to gain their nose and taste, feel back, and to gain control over food. So my specific number is like to run the 10th sensory tasting. Then time bound by 60 days. So in 60 days, I want to have the 10th sensory meeting, let's say, lesson. Measurable, I mean, 10 and between 8 and 12 people will participate at each lesson. Attainable, this is a bit a big group because I need to find a place, then there will be a list of tools that I need to have, and then there is all the marketing thing, but this is contained in the big group of attainable, I guess, and it's realistic. Can I do it being alone with the skills that I have? It is achievable. It's quite a high like, how do you say, quite challenging thing, but even economically it makes sense. So I think it's I would be happy if I do it.
Good. So within a span of 60 days, you intend to have 10 tasting events in which 10 to 12 people will participate.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. Very good. Anyone else? Ladies? Yeah? No, nobody. Okay. Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
Not to go into intricacies of business, but basically to sign the lease agreement with 5 customers for a minimum of 5-unit bed and breakfast project in the first year of operation. So,
Durable?
pardon?
Durable?
I think Well, I mean, look, I think so, but...
Good. It's also about finding the means to make it measurable, to make it attainable, and to make it realistic, right? And you formulating those goals, you fine-tuning those goals, right, that you make changes, is okay, is part of the process, right? You do your market research, you get more realistic numbers, you compare the situation with competitors, you see, you know, what suppliers out there, you understand your context, you're able to formulate a more precise goal. Strategies are overall plan of action that supports the implementation of that goal, right? How you're getting there. But strategy is a bit of a different story. I guess somebody else will be talking maybe on these things. Today, it's planning and it's measurable. So if we have one goal, oftentimes it's several parallel goals with parallel strategies and multiple tactics that support each of the strategies that are there to implement a specific goal. We talk about rollout of the first year of operations of a new business, big or small. We talk about a startup in our context. And I was thinking, what tool can I bring? What can I, give you valuable, useful, that works in any context, regardless the industry stage of the development of the product or prototype you have. If you Google Lean Business Canvas, you will have plenty of different templates in the internet. I did this one. It's ugly. Well, in a sense, it's not as beautiful as the ones that people design with all the, designer skills. But I wanted to show you color scheme that there are different segments that we should be talking about when doing the planning. Business plan is a sophisticated, whole, real, serious document, right? And oftentimes it's even legal grounds, basically. It gives legal grounds for so many things like taking the loan and even going to migration department in our context, right? For getting the grounds of being in Lithuania on the basis of starting an enterprise. But business plan is a sophisticated document to write. You want to be doing it maybe at a bit of a later stage when you figured out more details to your business, right? In early stages, a useful tool is Lean Business Canvas, I would say. It's lean in a sense that it's frugal, doesn't require as much information as, say, business plan would do, and we could try doing it today, but definitely the idea is not that you finish it today only within the next 35 minutes and that's it. I very much recommend you keep on working on it, and you get the starting onto how to fill it in and what you need to know to do the proper planning for the business rollout. So let's start with the first part, the key partners. It's not necessarily, not like literally, partners as in business partners. That could be the case. Those people that you start business with by sharing the ownership of the business. But I recommend to look at it broader and basically to call partners anyone who supports your business as an idea, as a concept, so to say, your family, your friends, potential suppliers, those other businesses that would be affiliated to you and your business operations. Let's say you do it in a shopping center. Put the name of that shopping center, or a business center, right? Those who will be in your network that wish you well, let's put it this way, okay? maybe let's give it a few minutes to briefly make notes for each of these. You don't have to have this template to, you know, fill it in as it is. I will send a Word document, but I also really encourage you to Google for the fancy, beautifully designed Lean Business Canvas in the internet. Point is that now you could already, you know, make notes of who could be potential partners of your business, right? It could be names of people, names of businesses. Maybe it's a Vilnius city municipality, right? Maybe it's some state authority. Maybe there is a specific, I don't know, magazine that writes about your kind of business. Maybe it's a business association that, you know, depending on the industry type, you could belong to, and they would be interested to have this new startup with an innovative, cool idea. So anyone who potentially wishes you best and would support the idea of your business. Friends, family would be an option too, as I said. So we have it, right? Or we're working on it. Good. The next segment in this Lean Business Canvas is key activities. If we say that business is about turning inputs into outputs and creating the value that somebody, you know, finds a value and is ready to pay money for it, then you turning those inputs into outputs is your key activities, right? Your operations. What do you do?
Production, for example.
Well, in your case, what do you do? What does it take for you to have those B2B platforms?
Production, marketing.
You need to do marketing to reach out to potential business clients. What else? That's first.
I have to produce.
You have to produce,
product.
which is software, platform?
No. Product itself, jewelry, for example.
Okay.
So
Is that you, what you do?
Yeah.
The jewelry and the platform?
Yes.
Okay. What else?
For now, I can only say production and marketing.
Maybe I'm just not getting your business idea, but I thought you were talking about the platform for B2B.
Yeah, platform.
So the jewelry and the platform are two different things, right?
I will sell my own jewelry on that platform.
On the platform that you create.
Yes.
So I say
It's
jewelry,
about
platform,
creation.
and marketing in a sense of reaching out to them, bringing them to that platform are three different things. No? Are you following me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Anyone else? With the events, what are your key activities?
Key activities, like
You need to plan the event itself, right?
yeah, to plan the event itself, to find the location, to gather the potential customers,
To do the marketing, to reach out to them, yes?
To do the
Communications.
to find the product that they will be tasting on. So product. You know.
But that's that customer experience planning, no?
It's
But also buying the ingredients, okay?
Let's say buying the ingredients. Is preparing the course part of a key activity? Yeah, preparing the course.
What else?
What else? I think to prepare like a kind of a path that they can follow. So PDFs, all that kind of.
You want to have some materials for them.
Materials. So I think it's a key activity so people can follow. Prepare a set of small essential oils that people can buy online to train themselves at home. This is part of key activities. Now I cannot think of anything else, but
good.
There is much
Good.
more on that. Yeah.
Good. You list all that in that box.
Okay.
Anyone else wishes to share? Key resources. Basically, that would be the answer to the question, what do you need to do all those activities? Do you need a budget? How big is that budget? Do you need any raw materials for you to make jewelry? Yes. Do you need equipment? Electricity, premises, whatever, right? Do you need a team? Do you need maybe subscription to some software? Anything that it takes you to make those activities running, that's your key resources. I imagine maybe in your case, when you have so many stages, and when each event will require different ingredients, let's say, or a different setup, maybe the ideas will be different of what exactly they do. Try to really split it, into common resources and those that will be event specific. And when you also have the themes for each event, it will, make it more comfortable for you to finalize then the whole list, right? But don't worry, of course, that you don't finish it right now. Whoever is doing it online, you can finish it anytime, but you get the idea. Then we move to value proposition. In other words, what is it of value that you create that others will be paying money to you for, right? You charge a price for a product or a service that you provide to a market. What is it? What do you charge money for? What is your value proposition? And here, really describe unique selling points. What's so special about this experience that you create for people during the tasting events, let's say? Or what's so special about that jewelry that you create and people buy, businesses buy, right? What kind of service are you able to offer them along with this product, if that's the case? Basically describe what does this price cover? What do they get for the money they pay?
anything that's bringing revenue to your, or it's the other way around?
Yes, you generate revenues through creating that value that you sell to customers. But in here, I need that description of the product, that description of the service.
Okay.
When you come to a person and you say,
So it's the revenue stream now, okay.
I offer to you what? One-time experience, or is it series of events? The price that you will charge, is it per evening, that event, or is it for all the 10 events together, you know?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, is it a question or is
It's a question, but it's also, you know, for general discussion for everyone to understand what we talk here about, right? So when you define that value, you know, it could be a series of 3 events, but you know you're going to make 10 for different topics during the months. What is it that they pay money for? And you described that experience. It's an event for 10 to 12 people where everyone gets to cook, or they come and everything is served. So, you know, people, you do it for yourself, this document, right? It's your notes. But basically, when you think of value proposition, it's what you communicate to your customer, right? Anyone willing to share on value proposition? How you defined the value that you create? Good. It's fine. You know, it might take time to really think and, you know, to answer questions to yourself. It's okay. Then we move to the yellow one. I prefer to speak about it that way. Because when you think of what value you create, you also consider for whom you create that value. Many of you were talking about your visuals of how it's going to be to have that business, visualizing of what kind of people will come to you to receive that service or product, right? What people you will be dealing with, who is excited about this kind of product or service that you create. And those might not be one homogeneous group. These could be people of different walks of life, of different age, of different income, lifestyle, education, gender, many other things that you know, define their taste, their preference in how often they will buy from you. Yeah, maybe it's going to be a regular customer who will come to your events every once in a while, you know, once a month definitely they will be attending one culinary event. Or maybe it's going to be a customer that, you know, only would buy once from you, but that's just the type of customer you get, right? And you choose those parameters based on which you split them into different segment groups. Having all that variety of different potential customers, you want to have some groupings, right? Your segments. So maybe you want to have them grouped by income, right? Or like how much they are willing to spend, or how regularly they come to you spending that amount of money. Or you want to group them by lifestyle. It's customers who prefer evening classes versus daytime classes, right? So you have your segments, and clearly you treat each segment differently because they all are different people with their very specific needs that are segment specific. And then you approach your relationship with them and communication channels accordingly, right? You speak to your regular customers clearly very differently than to people who only buy, you know, from you once in a while randomly and would never have further contact with you. You may want to have a strategy to, say, pertain those customers and have maybe a newsletter, some way to stay in touch with them and turn them into returning customers. Or maybe your perception on them is not really how frequently one same buyer comes to you, but more of like the volume of purchase, right? But you think of your context, what's relevant for your business idea, and you split them into segments and adjust that relationship of how you communicate to them and which channels you use. We speak about newsletter, we speak about banners, outdoor advertisement, we speak about social media. Again, if it's an age group thing, and age would be the determinant, clearly to someone, you know, teenagers, you're most likely going to go on TikTok. And if we're talking about people in their 50s, again, depending on a product, it could be LinkedIn or it could be Facebook, right? So those would be very different channels depending on the customer segment, right? Cost structure is more of like that part here of your resources and your key activities. So basically, if you know what it takes you to run that business, like what you need to have things going, and what activities you will do, your key activities, then you know your expenses, right? Go detailed with numbers saying what the cost structure is. Are those fixed costs? Are those variable costs? You don't have to be financially literate so much. It's very simple things in a sense of like you doing your monthly calculations and understanding, do I multiply it by 12 or is it like one-time payment? We're talking for now about lean business canvas for the first year of functioning of the startup, right? And when you have all these numbers with all these points down, you can make your cost structure, annual cost structure. That number is what you need to keep in mind when doing the budgeting, because then you have also revenue streams, and that's, if this part is a given, this part is sort of dreams and aspirations, right? We wish ideally to have this much of sales, right? That's our goal. You formulate it very clearly. You know that it's attainable, great. You go for it, and you know your goal is to make what? I don't know. Your sign the lease contract for those box hotels, right? Correct me, I don't know how to correctly define the idea, right? And that's lease contract that is, say, annual contract. How many? 5 contracts per year, let's say, yeah? But you also may think, okay, there would be people, another segment of my customers, potential customers, who would be interested to have these kind of houses for vacation when it's like most likely seasonally to make sense for them. So what if another revenue stream, apart from 1-year lease contracts, is that I have my 3 trial kind of like boxes that I show to be rented for 5 months of the year. That would make a different revenue stream, right? You were talking about selling oils online alongside with events, right? So these are different revenue streams, right? Products you sell online like oils, other ingredients for people to have that tasting experience at home, and in parallel your in-person meetings, right? Events. You can have very different revenue streams depending on your context, right? So you know your context best. You put, again, the numbers for the whole year. You have your revenue input on how much you expect to make in the first year. And then it's a game of meeting the ends together, or hopefully really having just enough to reinvest in growing that business even bigger, right? It's about details, really. It's about analyzing the market, getting the right numbers that are realistic and true, right? It's not the narrative thing. It's very, very precise and very down to earth, and very exact numbers should be in there, right? It can be ambitious. It can be, not frugal in a sense of costs. It's better, to overestimate your expenses rather than underestimate. But it's very much about being very precise. That's why it's one pager. That's why it's, very brief overview of what needs to be considered. And I don't know if there are any questions to this.
I mean, one person online asked, but I'm not sure if it suits this topic, but the question is like this. If we have a product and if we want to produce the product, but we need investment for it, how to get initial investment? So that's the question.
It's part of the planning too, right? When you made your planning, say, using this tool, and you realize that money you have available is not enough to get the business going, then you consider how much and from which sources you could generate, right? I don't know if there would be a separate lecture on this.
Yeah, it would be. That's why I said I'm not sure if it's exactly for this,
but clearly, putting the numbers together in the planning, realizing, maybe you can make through the first quarter, and then it would make sense for you to, let's say, take up the obligations and commitments with the bank, taking the loan, right? But it's part of planning, really, identifying, yeah.
Yeah, and the same person asked, but do you think, it's worth to go to the banks to take the loan, or it's better to go with investors? What would be your personal opinion about that? Would you consider taking the loan by yourself, or would you go first to the investors?
It's a very random question when it's without context.
Yes, so because that's the question asked, investment, if we have a product and if we want to produce the product, then investment first. How do you get initial investment? And then the same person asked, do you think it's a good idea to borrow the money from the bank or with investors? So what would you do actually? You go to the bank or with investors? Me personally, I think I would go to the investors, not taking the loan, because it's so risky in my opinion.
But I think it's very case specific, right? So you need to consider advantages and disadvantages of all the scenarios that you may have. I mean, there are really far more options than just a bank or just an investor. There are grants. I was telling you in the first place about key partners. Think about state authorities that will be willing to support you. Think about all the financial instruments that are there to attract foreign capital. I don't know your case, but you think of what makes sense to you. Really, it's about oftentimes educating ourselves on all the possible available options, right? There are many institutions that in Lithuania, in Vilnius, we're lucky to be, physically in the capital where there are so many institutions and infrastructure that supports foreigners developing their businesses in here, right? Why not to reach out for a grant? It depends on how innovative your, business idea is. If it's a scientific discovery or of some kind, if it's really innovative, if there is some scientific novelty, there are plenty of programs and grants that support innovation. And they don't require really, it's a grant really, so one-way thing. It's available to you on a basis of you creating something of a value, right? So nobody asks for shares in return or interest on payment and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. That person was with I forgot, the vehicle?
Vehicle.
The electric bicycle.
That's a very cool idea, and for him, considering the eco element in it and the fact that it could contribute to reduction of CO2 emissions, there should be a way to look for funding of such initiatives and ideas. Really, there are quite a number of financial instruments and possibilities always communicated through different agencies here in Vilnius. Some funding, let's say they would give 80% of funding, but it's already better than putting everything from your pocket, So think about it. Any other questions? Because we could talk about all the questions in general, on motivation, on planning, on setting the goals, anything that one is willing to ask.
I have a question. So from this how is it called? This 1 year the new business canvas. From this to the actual business plan, what's in between? Like, how do you go from this I've never seen a business plan. I don't know how it looks like. And before this, I might have taken this as a business plan, but it's not. They are two different, separate things. So, how do we go from this to the business plan?
So really, this is more like canvas for you to make notes. Yeah, very brief, very precise, to the point. It's not a narrative, but it's not much of a document, right? Business plan really is a ground for so many things. Like I was saying, even in migration department, they might require you to bring a document of such kind to judge on how well thought out that business idea is and how serious your intentions are on rolling out that business, right? Sometimes the volume of a business plan can, even exceed 100 pages. It very much depends on the context and the purposes of you designing that document. There is no precise structure, so to say, in a sense that this and not any other way of writing it. But there are many, again, examples, samples, templates on the internet to see what could be described in business plan. Market analysis could be sort of an intro part that is your justification of this business being created, being a good idea, in a sense that it would make sense financially, economically, and that there is a space on the market, the volume of the market allows you to enter it, and you know which niche you will take, what your target audience is, those segments within the target audience, and so on. You would really disclose it in more details than just bullet points, let's say.
but the business plan is not always, is not mandatory, right? If the idea is quite simple, you don't need to get a loan or financial help from third parts. You don't need it. You do a very
For yourself?
Yeah, for yourself. But if you bring this to a very elaborate Excel sheet, you don't need to make a business plan as we all imagine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you always know why you do it, right? And the context, like I say, there is right and wrong in how you do it in the context that you apply it, right? When you need to give it to an investor, you definitely want to show return on investment, yeah? How soon it will pay off to invest in that business. But say, in other contexts, you would want to have some formula, chemical formula for that invention, let's say, or a colleague of yours who has this prototype of the vehicle. I vividly remember the first class when he was showing some prototype and sketches that he did in AutoCAD, and that's great. This should be part of the business plan to show what that product is all like. You know, it's not a descriptive narrative so much. You have to have schemes and calculations, and oftentimes business plan really is for longer than just 1 year. I mean, you could also do Lean Canvas for 3 years if you wanted. The point is that we're talking about a simple tool that is easy to implement and to get things going. Indeed, if you don't have any other parties involved, if you don't need it for someone else, and it's for your personal ease of planning, this is just enough, I think. Yeah? Good.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a question. So right now I'm in an early stage of my ideation of the idea, and I really like the tool SMART. How can I use it at the time of ideation? Basically, that's my question. How I can bring it, start practicing, because I feel it's when I saw that, it's more like when your ideation is done, you have your plan what you want to do for in business, but I want to use it at the time of ideation, or maybe you have some other tools which you can recommend or something else.
In fact, it doesn't matter at which stage you are in a sense of setting the goal, right? Mm-hmm. The question here is more of what goal it is, right?
What goal it is.
Yeah, because that SMART thing is sort of a requirement of how the goal should be formulated, right? And it could be everyday life living goal, right? My goal is to make it to work on time today. Yeah, I mean, but.
So basically, you can set up small goals for every SMART and.
Small, big, doesn't matter, right? If you're going to be able to implement it tomorrow, or it's more a goal that requires 5-year perspective, it's okay, right? You're welcome. Anyone online?
No.
Then I guess, yeah, that's it from my side.
Yeah, so thank you, Diana.
My pleasure.
Yeah, now I just will say some information about Migrant Talent Garden, about business plan. Greta, can you help to use your computer? Because I don't know how it works, it's not my platform about business plan, and I smile. So the next session will be on 23 of November. Thank you so much, thank you. How to use this, yeah. So the next session will be on 23. Why it will be 2 weeks gap? Because it doesn't work, right?
No, there was some kind of problem, yeah.
Okay. Can you help? Oh, maybe it works now, no? So you will receive this business plan, and you will actually start working on it. It has everything what usually standard business plan has. My colleague is trying to figure it out now the way to open it, but basically it will be table of content, and you will have things like company description. You will have product and services worksheet. You will have marketing plan, market research, then like SWOT analysis. It works now or not?
Yeah. Should I put it on the same screen too?
No, it was
Okay, nice.
thank you. Like product, service, target customer, and stuff like that. So you will have all this, and then the next session will be about who is my customer. So that's why we are doing like 2 weeks between, that you will start familiar with it. You could fill in what you already find out, and then we will move later on. And then afterwards, you will have mentors with who you also can consult on what should be better than and stuff like that. So that's your answer about business plan. Yeah, that's it, I think. Does someone has questions?
How is it all going to look with mentors? Can you
Yeah.
visualize what is it for?
So some of you has ideas, right? Some of you don't. And then you have mentors. We have right now, I don't remember, I'm sorry, 14 ideas. And we will have mentors. So we will try to pick the mentor who fits like your profile. So for example, someone has like CO2 emissions. So for sure, it would be better that we would pick up the mentor who works on sustainable and working with ventures on sustainability. So that's how we will pick up. For sure, like in the work process, maybe there will be some changes because someone will say like, I'm not happy with the mentor or stuff like that. So we will try to find ways that both sides would be happy.
But it's going to be scheduled time.
Yeah, but like this, like
our times, or it's like scheduled like mentors will have these times when we can consult them, or
so yeah, basically you will get the contact, and you will try to find out the way, like you want to meet in real life or you want to meet live, Zoom and stuff like that. That it would be like both, I forgot how to talk, would be comfortable for you and the mentor, like on two of you.
But what I also heard from you is like to assign mentors, you need to know the business ideas.
Yeah, so those.
So you mentioned the Facebook, or it's possible to email.
Yeah. So I already have 14 ideas. So those who didn't send, go and check Migrant Talent Garden group. You will find my email address and send your idea. Basically, the deadline was today. But if you want to continue, do it, like today or.
And if I came to you to tell my ideas.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I have. Also, like last time, there were some people who said, "Oh, can I come to you?" Then just come to me, tell your idea, name, and email, and then I will have you in the contact.
How specific the description should be? Because, like, I kind of described when I signed up here.
Yeah.
But should it be more developed? Like, I don't know, is there a template?
What's
expected?
Yeah, we have a kind of templates, but there are many people who just send out. But what do you need? So basically, at which stage you are, because some people has already like websites, Facebook, Instagram. There are some people who just has the idea and they don't have anything else. Then there are people, as I've mentioned before when we talked, who wants people on. But basically, like the stage, at which stage you are. Also, it's good to mention like what do you want to achieve during this, like let's say 2 months. Like what would be your goal? At which stage you would like to finish this program? Are there any questions on it?
I think we have like some questions, but I don't know if this was just answered.
Okay.
I mean, you can check. That's better. Have to examine.
Okay, take the pictures of this. I'm like this and online, so it's hard to manage. Yeah. Some more questions?
Just one question. Actually, I lost the calendar for the events. Can you please share it in the Facebook or
Yeah.
the next events coming up?
Yeah, we will have it like We have that in Google Form registration, but once I will send you all the information. And just for now, the next event is 23 of November, 6:30. Here, the subject is who my customer. I will add everything to Facebook group. I will send emails to all of you. No question. All right, so thank you so much. Thank you, Diana. I hope you liked today's session, and we are done. If you want, like always, we have like 10 minutes to chit chat, exchange contacts, but today less 10 minutes because we need to close the building. So thank you so much.
Thank you.